All right, so we've been covering the ongoing assault on Gaza and the West Bank by Israel and their security forces, as well as illegal settlers who continue to expand into the West Bank. And honestly, throughout this entire process and conversation, from at least the perspective of a leftist in this country, it seems like there's almost nothing that we have or can do that will seriously push us in the right direction. Joe Biden is still standing by his unwavering support for Israel and the human rights abuses, the war crimes that they have been continuously committing against Palestinians. And it doesn't look like he's shaking in that at all. I covered the story yesterday of Rashida Tlaib confronting him directly, and even then he just kind of gave a fluffy little statement and said, "Oh, I hear you, I see you, but I'm not really going to do anything about it." And he's just enabling this far-right racist warmonger, Benjamin Netanyahu, to do whatever he wants. And so in whatever capacity that we have at our disposal in order to wield some degree of leverage in this moment to try to push the needle in the right direction, AOC has been leading the charge on this specific issue. There was that recent story that we covered that was the $735 billion weapons sale to Israel that obviously, if you're somebody who values human rights or preventing war crimes, then you should oppose this weapons sale because those weapons will undoubtedly be used against civilians in Gaza. And so it's absolutely unacceptable. If you have any moral position at all on our weapons and the weapons that we are selling to other countries not going towards committing war crimes, then obviously this is something you should oppose, and it's something that AOC is opposing. So here's what she did. She says the United States should not be rubber stamping weapon sales to the Israeli government as they deploy our resources to target international media outlets, schools, hospitals, humanitarian missions, and civilian sites for bombing. We have a responsibility to protect human rights, and this is obviously responding to the headline that she is preparing to introduce a resolution that would block the United States' planned $735 million bomb sale to Israel. She continues, "It must be said here, amplification is necessary but not sufficient. Traction on this issue is very dependent on your calls to Congress. Retweets aren't enough. Call your member of Congress and let them know how you would like them to represent you on the matter." So I'll put that link down in the description. Follow her advice, go call your congressman or woman, and do everything that we can in our disposal to push the needle in the right direction on this issue. Again, it's a very difficult issue because of the massive influences that a lot of these pro-Israel, pro-Zionist lobbying groups have over our members of Congress, and because our members of Congress are complete cowards who care more about their own careers and protecting their career interests than they do about human rights and human rights abuses, then this is the situation that we have right now, where this resolution is going to be extremely difficult to pass. We needed one senator to sign on to this in order to bring it to the Senate to get a vote on it, and that senator, of course, was Bernie Sanders. Following AOC's lead, Bernie Sanders will introduce a bill to block the sale of bombs to Israel. This is historic, and under Senate rules, this will get a vote, forcing senators to go on the record about the sale of deadly weapons to Israel. So again, I don't think that this has a massive chance of getting through. We can read about from Common Dreams here how little the chance is that it actually has. To pass, the resolutions of disapproval must receive a simple majority in both chambers, but even if the measures clear both the House and Senate, obviously Biden could then veto that decision. So it's not going to get a majority in the House or the Senate as much as I would like it to. I just don't think that there is that coalition there as of right now. We're fortunate that in this latest round of violence that we do have members of Congress like AOC, like Ilhan Omar, like Rashida Tlaib, like Bernie Sanders, who are actually willing to go on the record and criticize Israel for their blatant war crimes that they've been committing. And but it's still not going to be enough, is the point that I'm trying to say. It's not going to be enough to get a majority in either chamber. And that's just a reflection of where we are in our political moment right now. Neither Democrats nor Republicans have any ground whatsoever to stand on to pretend to care about human rights, to pretend to care about war crimes or international law. We are the biggest violators, the biggest funders of violations of human rights abuses and international law. So that's where we are right now. I don't think that this has a massive chance of passing, but I still think nonetheless this is really important that they're doing this because these are the types of fights that we have to take on in order to advance our agenda. And this doesn't just go for the situation in Palestine. It doesn't just go for the suffering that they have been inflicted, that has been inflicted by Israel, but it goes for every single issue. You know, I mean, we can't just simply give up on fighting for issues that matter to us. We can't simply give up on fighting for the right side of history just because it's difficult and just because we have a bunch of corrupt motherfuckers in Congress who are going to stand in opposition to this. So I'm glad that they're doing this. 100% support and credit to AOC for leading this charge, and as well, obviously, as Bernie Sanders taking it to the Senate. So we'll have to see how this plays out. I anticipate there's going to be massive debate on both sides of this, and it's going to be pretty heated. But honestly, the situation in Israel and Palestine, it doesn't seem like there's any serious pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu to stop what he's doing right now. Joe Biden has assisted by blocking 5 times now a UN resolution calling for a ceasefire. So he is explicitly endorsing all of the violence, all of the war crimes that have been being committed. And there's no sign of it slowing down as of right now. But I think what's going to end up happening is Israel is just going to ease off the gas whenever they feel like they've destroyed enough civilian targets that they are satisfied. And then they're just going to pull off the gas, and then the media will go silent. And then in a couple years, we'll have this reamping up of violence. And all the while, in the background, we will have this continuing ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Palestinian people. So it's unfortunate. That's the situation that we have right now. But again, I'm really glad that we do have members of Congress who are willing to take this fight seriously, and who are willing to stick their necks out there, because there will be serious backlash, not just from the establishments of the Republican and the Democratic Party, but also from all of these lobbying groups and organizations that viciously smear members of Congress who are willing to speak out for Palestinian rights.